Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you everything I bought in 2021. I've got them all down here, well, the ones that I've still got, but I am going to be telling you about the things I bought and then gave away or sold as well for a little bit of balance. These are in no particular order. First one I'm going to talk about is this. It's the sexiest scent on the planet ever, but this is a customized version with added pear, iris and violet. On occasions, very rare occasions, Sarah McCartney from 4160 Tuesdays allows people in her Facebook group to order a customized fragrance. So you choose one of her regular line and then you can add extras to it. And I did that with this one. This one, what I ordered not long after my lovely pussycat sweetie passed away, and I wanted, it was kind of like a gift to myself. Something special. Sarah wrote sweetie on the bottle for me, although it got rubbed away, and they've written a nice note as well on the back. The original sexiest scent is a very simplistic but very beautiful fragrance, very fresh opening, kind of lemony, a lemony fresh opening, and then you have a very smooth, woody, vanillic base. It's an addictive scent, it lasts really well on the skin. Has quite a lot of something similar to ISOE Super. I think she uses timbersilk. So it's got that kind of like cedar-like nuance to it. But I really do enjoy this, especially with my extra pear, iris and violet in there. You really only get that in the top. I don't think it really clings too much to the dry down. Dry down is more like the original sexiest scent. Then we have Miss Dior Le Parfum. It is discontinued. I got this one second hand. I think it was eBay. And it's a vintage style fragrance. It's like a old fashioned rose and patchouli. It's just got this old fashioned kind of sharpness to it. I don't think there's aldehydes, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is something like aldehydes in here that make it a little sharp. And then the dry down is becomes quite a rich ambery scent, but it definitely has this old school feel, a retro vibe. I didn't love it at first. It's really grown on me, but it's something that I choose to wear only on occasions where I want to feel a little bit more grown up, a little bit more bougie, more put together. This would be the one that I would choose. Sticking with Miss Dior, I got this little one. It's a 30ml. I bought it from a fragrance friend who'd only sprayed it a couple of times to test it. So I've actually used a lot of this. And it's a vanilla floral. It's a much more modern scent. The listed notes I don't really get so much as some like florals like lily. Lily to me usually smells green and a little sharp. I don't really get that in here. It smells more like some fresh flowers, a bit of rose, maybe a hint of a jasmine, and lots of vanilla. But I just really like it, and it's quite a musky scent. I really do enjoy clean musks, and I definitely get a fluffy, clean, musky feel with this one. I just love it. It's really addictive, hence why I have almost finished this 30ml. So the new current version of Miss Dior EDP. This is a fairly recent addition to my collection. Oriana from Parfum de Marly, a orange blossom, rose, fruity, musky vanilla. Not really a great deal to say about it, except I find it hyper addictive. I love it. I'm wearing it a lot. I'm down to there already, so it is getting a lot of love, and it's another one with lots of clean, fluffy musk. This is Tiger, and I'm not 100% certain that I bought this in 2021. It might have been at the end of December 2020, but please allow me to include it because I'm not 100% sure, and there's really just a few days in it. So Tiger from Francesca Bianchi is a rich irisy, floral, vanilla. There's tons going on in here. I think there's tuberose, but it's not too heavy. It feels like there's a bunch of white florals. It's got that Francesca Bianchi feel, and it's almost like she took the sweeter, easier to love parts of several different fragrances and put them together here. If someone found most of her fragrances challenging but felt an appeal in some aspects of them, they might find this to be the perfect one. It's supposed to have oud, but I don't really pick that up at all. I don't find it too funky or animalic, really. It's very, very pleasing to my nose anyway. It's so good. I'm not sure if I bought this in 2021, but I think I did. So I'm just going to quickly mention it. Sex and the Sea, Neroli. I bought the oil first. I had the Sublime Body Oil, and I had that quite a while before finally getting the perfume, and I love it. It starts off bitter, green and floral, yet sweet and rich. Really long lasting, really strong perfume, but perfect for spring. Perfect really all year round. I love it in the hot and the cold and everything in between, but it does have this spring-like feel with a sort of green floral feeling to it. I really love that. This is Woman in Gold from Kilian. So this is a fruity rose type scent. I get this marshmallow feel from it. Not exactly marshmallow, but almost like a less fluffy marshmallow, slightly sharpish, mallowy tang. I just really like it. It's chewy. It's almost like, yeah, like a marshmallow's hardened up a little bit and you can chew on it. But it is gorgeous, sort of like a pink rose with a fruitiness, a little tartness to it. It's not super, super sweet, but it does sweeten up. I think there's probably something like a vanilla in the base, but not too much. And I find it like a going out fragrance, a little bit of a party fragrance, or a bit of a special, you know, look at me, I'm looking good tonight kind of thing. So Woman in Gold. This was my last purchase of the year. It's the new Shalimar limited edition, and it's called Millesime Vanilla Planifolia, and it's a really, really vanilla-y version of Shalimar, powdery vanilla-y. So it's like iris and vanilla and clean musks have been really amped up. And the things that are harsher in the original Shalimar, like the bergamot, that is almost very lemony and sharp, and the leather, those things are really toned down in here. And it's almost like if there was leather in here, it would really be a suede and only very, very gentle amount. It's a really nice vanilla. Once you get past the first hour or so, it really just smells like the vanilla iris and musk, and not too much else, but it is very, very pretty. It's a sweeter vanilla, so it feels like more like a vanillin, because it's got more of the sweeter aspects of vanilla, is what vanillin is. And apparently the planifolia is much heavier in vanillin than other variations of vanilla, so that explains why it smells more like a vanillin than perhaps you might expect from a natural vanilla. And then we have this is Annabelle's birthday cake from Marissa Zappos, and this is so pretty. It's got a tuberose frosting note, so imagine icing, cake icing with a little bit of drop of tuberose in there. It's not a big blousy tuberose bouquet in your face whatsoever, because it's so softened by the sweeter notes. It does smell like I don't know, like a carrot cake with loads and loads of icing on it. There's a hint of an almond facet in here, a vanilla sponge, but it's not too sweet. It's got a little freshness in it, so it's definitely gourmand, but it isn't just pure cake. It is a perfume. It smells like a perfume, and I really, really like it. This was a limited edition. I broke my no by July to buy it because there was only 2 bottles left. However, Marissa Zappos has added it to her regular line, so it is available and you can sample it as well, so you don't have to blind buy. I would definitely suggest you sample it if it sounds like your cup of tea or your birthday cake. But it's super, super yummy, and I have definitely made quite the dent in there. I can't see how much is left, can I? Oh, I can. I've just held it up to the ring light, and I've used that much, so it's definitely one that's getting a lot of use. And this is Levant from Ormond Jane, another one you can see that I've really used a lot. I wore this today actually. A musky floral, so really if you put this beside Miss Dior, they have some similarities, the current Miss Dior, in that this is a slightly gourmand, sweet, vanillic dry down, but with a fresher floral. The florals in here, I think there's some lily again, but I don't get any greenness, so it's not too sharp. I can never remember the florals in here, and I really have trouble picking them out, but it feels like a little melange of different florals, fresh-ish, nothing too heady, nothing exotic, but pretty, and tons of clean musk. It's really musky, it's heavy on the musk, and I love it. It's probably highly synthetic, but I don't care. I really love synthetic clean musks, and it lasts really well on the skin. I had a spray on my wrist last night and I woke up and I could still smell it, and in actual fact the further you get into the dry down, the better it gets, and I think that's because you start to pick up a little bit of that vanilla, but it's never too much. The vanilla is quite subtle. It's a floral musk with a little bit of vanilla, but I really like it. This is Rubicona from Pure Distance, and this is a patchouli scent, and I'm not a big fan of patchouli usually, but in here I like it. I don't necessarily love the opening because the patchouli is a little much, but as it dries down I really fall heavily in love. It's a little bit syrupy, there's some rose in here, there's a little hint of a spice. The dry down is stunning. I think it's an amber. I can really smell a gorgeous vanilla in the dry down. Really long lasting. It's extract strength, changes gently on the skin, and it's just amazing and really special. This is Paris Monte Carlo Ylang Ylang Nosy Bee. A massive love of mine. I have really enjoyed this since I've had it. It's quite a simplistic fragrance, but I think what I love is the vanilla accord in here. It's got such texture to it. It's not just like a straight up vanillin. It's not just like a cupcake frosting vanilla. It has a real texture, lots of different facets to it. And then the ylang is kind of very rich and syrupy. There's a hint of spice. I think it's cardamom, but it doesn't smell like exactly like cardamom. You can't really separate it. It just adds a spicy facet to the ylang and the vanilla. Lasts really well on the skin. I've got the extract in travel sizes that my very kind friend Alicia sent me, and I wore through a 10ml on my holiday to Rhodes, so now it's really nice how that's kind of scent memory attached to the fragrance. Every time I wear this I just smile. I love it so much. It's a little exotic because of the ylang ylang, and it's rich, but to me it's any day of the year. I'm happy wearing this in the high heat and also in the freezing cold, because it doesn't matter what, it always makes me happy. Yeah. And now we are down to one brand, but I've got a few from the brand. Can you guess what the brand is? Put it in the comments below. You're probably right. It's Teone Reinthal, and I've got quite a few from Teone Reinthal, a natural perfumer from Australia this year. This one is Tea Rose Mimosa. I think it's got quite a lot of ambergris in it, so it's got that kind of salty, slightly aquatic feel with this floral from the rose and the mimosa. A little bit of a sweetness. I'm not sure where that's coming from, maybe the florals. I haven't worn this one a lot. I still need to get to know it. I ordered quite a lot from Teone at the same time, and also she gave me loads of samples, so I still need to get to know. I've worn it a few times and I still need to get to know this one, but it is really interesting. This is the limited edition version with the real ambergris in it. There is a vegan option. This one is Jacques, and this is Teone's version of Shalimar. She was challenged to create something inspired by Shalimar. with all naturals, and this is absolutely beautiful. I prefer this over the Guerlain Shalimar Millesine Planifolia a million times. This is so much more complex. The vanilla in here is so much more to it. It's got a spiciness, it's got woodsiness, it's got a creaminess. It is just wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. And if you are a vanilla lover, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't try it, especially if you like a powdery vanilla and iris with your vanilla, then this is magical. Jacques. Mahila. It's now discontinued, so unfortunately you can't get it. It's a very fresh, invigorating, uplifting, sort of woody. I don't even know what's in here. I'm going to spray some. I've worn it a few times. I bought this one because of a couple of people. Marcus Ibrahim, he's the main person responsible because he wrote a review on Instagram quite a long time ago, and I was just blown away. And I mean, the review was just beautifully written, very evocative. And then I think Christy as well from Oh My Soul, I think she wrote a review. It's totally Teone. It feels like different white flowers, quite exotic with a little bit of pollen, definitely very uplifting. So there's probably citruses in here, but this backbone of a little bit of a spicy woods that grounds it. I don't know if there's some sandalwood in here, it wouldn't surprise me. It is really, really beautiful. Obviously it's very natural, but it feels so natural. It feels so outdoors. You can spray this and bring the outdoors, but not just out there, because out there today is pretty grim now. It's dark, it's cold. It's not that. It's like being transported to a tropical island somewhere obviously far, far away, and you know, the people were all wearing those flowers around their necks, and you can smell all the wildflowers growing, all the gorgeous, like, I don't know, tiara flowers. And it's making me think of tiara flowers and frangipani. I don't think they're notes, I'm not sure, but it's just bringing really gorgeous tropical fresh flowers to mind with a lovely grounded base. It's a little bit spicy, like a little gingerish maybe. It's really, really good. I must remember to wear this one more often because it's so good. Now I don't need to remember to wear this more often because I've, well, probably done more than half. And it's honey amber. Absolutely love this. This does have frangipani in it, and I love frangipani. It's a honeyed frangipani. I don't feel like I'm going up to a jar of honey and sticking my nose in. It's more like the flowers just have like dripping honeyed nectar from them, and then a gorgeous ambery base. I think there's some sandalwood in here, or I don't know, but it's just really, really good, and I love it so much. This one is super special as well, Sacred Ground. Honestly, if I was to say what one fragrance of Teone's has absolutely blown your mind, it is Sacred Ground. It just is so evocative. It transports you. Oh, it's so good. And it's weird how this has attached itself to a memory of a little break that I took with Sam back when it was, oh God, it was just before the summer, or early summer, but the weather wasn't great, and we stayed by the sea and we made the best of it, even though the weather was a bit grotty. And I wore this a few times, and we went to watch the waves crashing in the evening, and this takes me there straight away. It's a little spicy, it's like a gingery spiciness, and maybe ginger, nutmeg. It reminds me of terracotta earth, I think Ayers Rock, Coca-Cola. I don't know, it's very difficult to explain, but I think it is amazing. I think that if someone smelled it and they were in charge of creating awards for masterpieces, that anyone who had that capability would would grant this a masterpiece award because it truly is, my opinion. And then the last one is Magus. Now you can see I haven't used this very much, and that's because it's a little challenging for me because it's quite medicinal. And I did try this, I've tried it a few times on my skin, but it kind of it's got oud in it, and I'm really not an oud person. I do prefer natural oud over sort of Western perfumes where the synthetic oud really can grate on me. I do prefer natural oud, but this I think has saffron in it as well, and saffron I find quite challenging. It makes me think of plasters, or if you're in the States you call them band-aids. It's got that medicinal medicine cabinet kind of feel to it, and it's difficult for me to get past that. It's a bit leathery as well, but saffron can be leathery. I don't know if there's any kind of leather note in here. It smells a little bit like leather, but it's got a nice sweetness to it, and you can tell that there's the gorgeous Teone magic ingredients in there as well. Like the resins and sort of maybe some amber woods type things, but it's just a little medicinal, so I need to get to know this one a bit better. I'm taking my time with it. That one is Magus. That is everything I bought this year, so it's not loads, I don't think, because I did have no buy July, where I only bought one thing, and actually I've had a no buy for the last 2 months. So I've once that Guerlain Vanilla Planifolia arrived, I didn't buy anything else, so I've been a lot more restrained. I'm a lot more conscious of what I'm bringing into my house. I don't want too much, I don't want too many perfumes, I don't want anything sitting here that I'm not going to use, so that's why I've slowed down my buy-in. Now there are a few things I bought that I no longer have, so I'm going to tell you. Iris Shot, this is a bit of a shocker. Olfactive Studios Iris Shot. I was obsessed with it, absolutely obsessed with it, and I still have it, but it is on the to sell shelf, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, I'm just not reaching for it, and whenever I go and smell it I don't feel like putting it on, and I don't know why. It might just be that it's a bit too rich and a bit too sweet for me these days. I tend not to wear anything that's not floral. Everything I seem to be wearing, almost everything, has some white florals in it, or rose. I don't consider iris a floral note. The iris comes from the root of the flower, and iris doesn't smell like a flower to me, so maybe that's why I'm not wearing it. So that unfortunately is going, even though I think it is a really good perfume. I don't know why, I'm just not loving it, I'm not reaching for it. I bought D Squared Want, which is a really good vanilla, designer vanilla. It is discontinued, but I got it super cheap. I was influenced by someone on YouTube, and I can't remember who it was now. I have since given it away, just because I'm not going to reach for it over and above all these amazing perfumes I've got here, even though I actually think for a designer it is exceptional. The vanilla smells really good. It doesn't just smell like plain vanillin, it smells a lot more faceted, and I'd say if you can get hold of it still for a cheap price and you're a vanilla lover and you want a cheaper option, then I highly recommend it. Just because I gave it away doesn't mean it's bad, it's just I want to curate my collection specifically to my taste. Another one I have, I think I sold this one, and it's Le Petit Robe Noir Ma Robe Velours, and that was a limited edition, I think, flanker, and it was quite nice, but it was quite weak. It really lied a bit flat on my skin, and it just didn't move me in any way, shape or form. It smelled good, but I thought, no, I'm getting rid of it. Sophia Vergara, the original Sophia. A few people love that. It gets a bit of hype. To me, it was too heavy on the patchouli. Patchouli is not a listed note, by the way, but I'm pretty damn sure it's in there. It smells like a fruituli, and it just wasn't for me at all. I'm not really into fruitulis. I prefer my dry downs to be more vanillic, ambery, that kind of stuff. And yeah, Sophia just smelled like fruity floral patchouli. far too much patchouli for my taste, so unfortunately that went. Initio Musk Therapy, that was a blind buy, and actually it's a really nice perfume, but the dry down's just a little too woody. I love the opening. I enjoyed the fruitiness, the muskiness. I think it was a blackberry or something like that. And the musk, and I think there's a floral note in there, all really nice. But then as it dried down, it just smelled woody and not a particularly rounded or exciting woods, quite a flat, dry woods, a bit like just a vetiver. I think it's supposed to be sandalwood, but it wasn't a rich or creamy type sandalwood. It was very dry and it just wasn't for me. Not bad at all, just not for me. Guerlain L'Instant Magique, which I think is limited edition and discontinued. I got that one from eBay and I've given that to my mum. A really nice violet scent, similar to Insolence, so the original Insolence, but more, I think more iris. Very pretty, but I just wasn't reaching for it, so I gave that one to my mum. A Fleur d'Orchidée from Karl Lagerfeld, a lovely beachy scent, similar to Soleil Blanc from Tom Ford or Terracotta from Guerlain, and certainly no less good in terms of quality. I'd say Fleur d'Orchidée is just as good as Soleil Blanc, Terracotta. However, I just didn't need it. I wasn't going to wear it, so that has also been given away to a friend, but I highly recommend it. It was something like £12 for the bottle, and I promise you it did not smell cheap. It smelled just as good as Tom Ford, not lying. I think that's everything. So if I have missed anything off, it's not on purpose. That is everything I could find from digging around that I've bought this year. And let me know, you probably don't want to list everything you've bought this year in your comments. However, you could always tell me your best and worst purchases of the year. I think that could be quite fun. So yeah, let's hear it. If you enjoyed this, and you should probably watch this video here, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.